Fires, welcome back to the channel. Today we're traveling to Wisconsin to a small town called Brussels, and we're going to be taking a look at a very unique urban legend, that is the curse of the man-faced pigs. But with that, we're going to get into this story. But if you find yourself liking the story, feel free to leave a thumbs up and possibly subscribe, as I do like to focus on the urban legends and stories similar to this. But with that, let's get into the story. In the heart of Door County, where the wind rolls in from Green Bay and the farmland stretches to the horizon, lies the small town of Brussels. It is a quiet place with roots deeper than most realize. It was founded on November 12, 1858, just 10 years after Wisconsin gained its statehood. And Brussels became home to settlers from far across the sea, Walloons, the French-speaking Belgians, who came searching for a new life in a wild and promising land. On their journey, they brought with them their language, their customs, their faith, and though perhaps unknowing, their old world superstitions. Among the sturdy barns and the quiet chapels, those settlers clung tightly to their devotion to the Catholic faith, building not only homes, but a community steeped in prayer and tradition. But having faith can also bring on darker things, as the old stories say. No one today can say exactly when the events took place for this curse, but the dates have long since slipped away, buried beneath a century of snow and soil. Still, the elders of Brussels will tell you the story happened sometime between the late 1800s and early 1900s, when the town was still young and the nights could be long and lonely. In those days, there lived a farmer, a man whose name has been lost to time. He was not poor, but neither was he rich, and he carried in his heart a bitterness that grew like a weed. His troubles began when word arrived from Belgium. A wealthy relative had died, and this relative would leave behind a very handsome inheritance. But when this will was read out loud by the town clergyman, the farmer's name was nowhere to be found. His rightful share, he believed, had been left to another, and the farmer's anger festered into hatred. And in a rage, he turned his fury towards the priest who had delivered the news. "A liar," he shouted, "a thief in the robe of God!" But shouting wasn't enough, and as this tale goes, he returned home that night, and in his anger began to speak words that were not his own. Dark incantations he claimed to have learned from an old Walloon charm book his family had brought from Belgium. He called upon wicked powers to curse the clergyman, and with him the holy men of Brussels. But yet, the curse did not travel as he intended. As while he was doing the incantation, his tongue stumbled, and his anger clouded his mind, and instead of sending the evil outward, the farmer turned it upon himself. That very night, something unnatural settled over the land. The wind died down, dogs would not bark, and from the barn came a sound of a fiddle. Playing softly, though no musician was there. The melody wound through the rafters, mournful and sharp. Then the furniture inside of the farmhouse began to move, chairs scraping, tables spinning as though caught up in an unseen dance. The farmer ran out, shouting into the night, and that's when he saw them. The farmer's pigs, dozens of them, had gathered near the fence, staring straight at him. But these pigs weren't normal pigs. They were not the animals he had known the day before. Their bodies were the same, but their faces had changed. Their snouts had flattened out, their eyes had widened, and their mouths curled into strange, grimacing smiles that were terrifyingly human. Each pig bore a man's face, twisted, angry, and full of silent accusations. The farmer scrambled and ran back inside, bolting the door behind him. But that did no good. From that night onward, the man-faced pigs followed him wherever he went. If he worked in the field, they gathered along the fence. If he walked in the town, one or two would be seen standing far off in the ditch, eyes fixed upon him. If he would try to sleep, he would wake in the moonlight to see their face pressed against the window glass, watching, always watching. Days passed, then weeks. The farmer stopped eating, stopped speaking. He couldn't escape their eyes. He could feel the stares even when they weren't there. Soon his mind began to fracture beneath the weight of guilt and terror. Finally, one gray morning, he decided he could no longer bear it alone. He walked to the home of his elderly neighbor, an old woman known for her wisdom and quiet faith. The pigs followed at a distance, paddling along the dirt road, their man faces pale in the mist. When he arrived, the farmer confessed everything: his anger, his curse, the changes in his livestock, and the fear that he was losing his sanity. And he begged for help. The old woman listened in silence before speaking softly. "You have cursed yourself, not others. No mortal can undo what pride has done. But perhaps God will take pity if you show him your heart. Build a shrine upon your land. Pray there, not for riches, but for forgiveness." Farmer stumbled home and began at once. Using old lumber from his barn, he built a small prayer house on a hill overlooking his fields. By the time the sun set, the structure was complete. Nothing fancy, but built with trembling hands and desperate faith. Inside, the farmer fell to his knees and wept. He prayed for hours, begging the Lord to forgive him for his greed, his hatred, and his curse. He promised to make peace with the clergy, to live humbly, and to never again wish ill upon another soul. When at last he rose and stepped outside, a strange stillness hung over the fields. He looked towards the pen, and it was empty. The pigs were gone. Not dead, not wandering, simply gone. And when he checked his remaining livestock, they too were unchanged. The faces of men had vanished, and the curse had been lifted. And the farmer lived quietly after that, tending his crops, attending mass, and keeping mostly to himself. When he passed years later, the town folks buried him on his land. The small prayer house remained, standing as a lonely monument at the edge of the field. To this day, some say it still stands near Brussels, weathered by time but unbroken by the wind. And locals claim that on calm nights, if you walk past the old farmlands, you can still hear faint fiddle music drifting across the field, or see shadowy outlines of a pig standing just beyond the fence line, watching in silence. Most dismiss the tale as more folklore, a superstition carried over from Belgium by settlers who missed their homeland. Others insist there's truth in it, pointing to similar stories pigmen told around the world. Legends of creatures caught between men and beasts, punishment and sin. Whether truth or tale, the people of Brussels have never forgotten the warning behind it. Greed blinds, anger curses, and sometimes the eyes that judge us most harshly are our own. Alright guys, that will do it for today, and that was the curse of the man-faced pigs. Let me know if you guys have ever heard of that story and what you thought about it. But with that guys, I will catch you on the next video. Peace.